All right, welcome to UC&PTV. I have the awesome Miss Bennie Ruth Crenshaw. She is a legend. She is, she was born and raised in Selma, Alabama. She's a retired teacher of 28 years. She taught and mentored for 38 years with Selma University and Concordia College Upward Bound programs. She served 5 terms for the city council for the city of Selma. She has been married to attorney Danny Crenshaw for 49 years, and they have 3 wonderful children. She is a grandmother and a mother to many. So welcome, Ms. Crenshaw.
Yes, good to be here.
Absolutely. It's great to have you. So we want to talk a little bit about, some of the things that you've accomplished and some of the things that you may want to share with others. And so, I have a lot of information about your history that we'll talk about. And I want to know kind of first, when did you get the first glimpse of your purpose? So when did you kind of figure out that you would lead in the way that you have led?
Joy, my purpose started very, very early in life. I saw so many things that made up my mind about what I would do because I've always loved mankind, and I always thought that every man was created equal in the sight of God. And I was basically poor materialistically, but with a great spirit that I had. And as I grew older, with a great family that was there for me, that gave me directions, I started to look at things a little bit different as I got to be a teenager. I would see some things that probably would frighten a lot of people. Klansmen would come by the house in robes and on horses, threatening my people, telling them that they should not go to the courthouse to register and vote. I saw black and white water fountains, which I felt if a water fountain was there, it should be for everybody. I saw unequal education. Some schools were better than others, and basically the white schools were better. And there were many things that I saw that said to me that it cannot continue to be like this, and whatever I could do to help make that change, that would be a lot of my purpose. So I knew then I had to decide what I wanted to do about inequalities and what I wanted to do as far as justice was concerned. So as a teenager in 1963, I decided with a group of others that I could influence to go with me to try and integrate lunch counters. That was my first time being arrested as a teenager. And then in 1965, where the teachers were at the courthouse and some were beaten, but they couldn't register to vote. So what I did was I told a lot of my classmates that, hey, if the teachers can't vote, then what would it be for us in our lifetime? So I did get some of them to go with me, and a lot of them were afraid of graduation and a lot of them were afraid of jail. For some reason, I basically did not have that feeling about any of those things. So I got people to go with me. I did graduate from high school, I must say, and I did go to jail in 65. So that was a turning point in my life. I had made a decision, so it basically didn't matter. And at that time, the late John Lewis was there in Selma. So I must say to you that my purpose in my life came from making a difference. And I also, as John said, I got into a lot of good trouble.
I love that. And I've heard that quote from him. I think that's
yes,
really special in a good way to kind of show people that, they don't have to live in fear of certain consequences because there's a purpose behind what they're doing. They're not out causing trouble, but if they get into trouble,
it's good trouble.
Yeah, it's good trouble,
Yeah.
That is awesome. And I love the fact that you you know, you didn't stand still, like you saw that things were going on that weren't fair to you and so many others, and you decided to take it upon yourself and gather people, you know, to make
Yeah.
change. So that's
Yeah, it's really not an automatic thing, Joy. It's something that comes within. It's not like it's not like, hey, I feel like I need to go get in some good trouble. It's something that says to you, how would this change happen if we don't make it happen? So we got to do something. And so those were my inner thoughts at the time when I saw so much, and I didn't want to be a part of that as I grew up, as I got into the world. I didn't want to look at the separatism that was happening. I wanted to see if there was anything I could do to help improve that situation. And that was my whole point. And to say to every man, you have a right for equal justice, equal everything in America, because that's what America has been built on.
absolutely, absolutely. So speaking of, you know, getting people together, I know that you formulated a group called
Mm-hmm.
for Change.
I
Um,
did.
and I know that that group has made, you know, strides in the community with women and children. And so I wanted to ask you, because I know that you also held a significant role in the city council as well, 5 consecutive terms, I believe. What
Yes.
what are those skills that you believe that you hold that kind of give you the ability to like bring people together and to lead in the way that you have?
Well, I tell you about being able to lead. It's you can find it to be difficult because you have different segments of people, so you have to really know what you're doing when you're leading, because you can either be effective or not effective. So when I was in office, the first thing that I had on my shirt that said that I was a voice for the people and of the people, which meant that it wasn't a voice of mine that was speaking, it was a voice of the people, which is very, very important to me. And then also, I wanted people to feel that you have to stand for what is right. Effective leadership means that people see you. They know the things that you're doing is not basically selfish. They're basically to help others. And then the courage to speak the truth. A lot of times you don't speak the truth because leaders don't. They either threatened by something that's personal to them. I never carried that while I was in city government because I felt that the truth meant that I could now speak for people who would believe me and would be able to follow me. And then there were people in the community that I wanted to say that, look at her. I would like to emulate her, the good in her. Because right now we are now evaluating politicians based on so many things. But one good thing is that they can see the good in you as a politician. They will follow you and you will be able to get something done with them.
Wow.
So to have trust, and trust will do it. And the trust will do this. It will tell people that whatever I'm trying to do or accomplish, I know you trust me. So therefore come with me and I will lead you and I will do the right thing.
Wow. So it sounds like people and relationships were your thing, really, like cultivating those relationships with people and then putting other people first, you know,
Oh yeah,
how you
yes,
establish.
that's basically what that's about. Yeah, but you have to carry that, all those traits of trust, belief, vision, listening to them, uh, be a voice, stand. There's just so many things that makes you effective. And I guess that's why people elected me 5 times. And then I told myself, hey, 5 times enough. I retired. So I did. And people were asking me, well, are you going to come back and run again? This is just recent. I said, no. I said, we have a lot of young leaders out there now. And they're saying, I don't know. I said, oh, yeah. You know, all the shit they would say to me, some of them, all the things that you talked about when you were running and what you stood for. I don't see a lot of those. I said, you know, I'm trying to do some things that Women for Change that age between 35 and 50, I'm trying to send a message to them that they could carry those same very things and we can continue what we're trying to do with people. And that remains to be trust and love. Because if you can do those things, it'll work.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so one of the things that I noticed or that I've observed with you is that you're really solution focused. Like I don't envision there being a problem that you can't find some sort of solution to. So, how do you do that? Like, what skills does it take to be that type of person or have that sort of attitude?
Well, I tell you what, as growing up in our household, we didn't have much, uh, but it was okay because we didn't want to deal with a lot of problems. My grandma hated them. And she would tell you, girl, if you're not going to be part of the solution, leave the problem alone. Don't be part of the problem. You got to find a solution. So that has stayed with me a long time. Right now, if I'm in a meeting and they start to focus on everything that's wrong, I pull them out and say, hey, we know a lot of things are wrong, but let's now find a solution to some of those problems. So what I would do and what I did do in my role as a teacher, as an Upward Bound counselor, as a counselor in the schools, as a city councilwoman, as leading groups of different people, Women for Change, youth ambassadors, I always wanted you all to feel that I would encourage you. I would be a good listener. These are skills that really needed, that we don't carry with us every day. We need to encourage people. We need to listen to them. They have a role that they want to play. Seek input from people. Don't think you know everything because you can't. And then you have to observe your team. Know who you're dealing with. See what their needs are. You can do all these things and you can get some solutions solved because people are saying, hey, this person is now open to us. It's about us. It's not about her. So yeah, in staying focused with finding problems, you have to engage. And once you do that, people will hear you. You can get a vision that they will jump on right away because that vision says she's inclusive. So that's the way I got a lot of stuff done. And I really appreciated that because it was somewhat innate. I didn't have to look far for it because everything was never about me. So I feel like if I could put my life on the line, standing there at the bridge, I can definitely tell people how to engage and I can help them do what they need to do for their community.
Wow. That's definitely leading by example. And I think
That's it. That's it.
that makes people like buy into the vision and it now becomes like their vision. And now you have the people to assist you with
do what you need to do.
whatever it is that you're trying to.
Because a lot of people feel like when they get in those seats, they belong, or wherever they are in power, it belongs to them, but it's not. You lose sight and you're not going to be a winner. You're not going to be someone who made a difference because you're trying to make a difference in yourself, but it's not about that. Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
So we talked a little bit about youth ambassadors and the role that you played in leading youth ambassadors, taking a diverse group of students to DC, and also just encouraging the group to, participate in community events and just lead. So I want to know, like, how did you get involved with youth ambassadors and why was that important to Selma's community?
Well, after I graduated, I've been asked this question several times because I've been trying to get people really involved with the young people so they can hear them. I've always wanted a platform on which young people can speak because what has happened is that they don't realize how intelligent, and I say you all were because you were one of my great ones. You know so much, and they don't. We think you don't, so we don't listen. So what I did was after I got back to Selma, they had mandated a integration of schools. And so I was one of the teachers at the integrated school, and I found that though it worked for a while, but slowly the whites entered into private school. And therefore, that broke that kind of thing that would have meant a lot if we had been more involved in teaching children how to communicate different cultures to each other. I think it would have been more effective. But we were so busy trying to make it work in a different way. I had a whole different way about working with cheerleaders and bringing different cultures into my class and creating dances of different ways, it was different things to get them involved. And I had very few problems with the children. It was more the parents than anything, because when I first started teaching, they wanted me to separate them out and put them in special seats. And of course, I could not do that. So I told them that they would be in alphabetical order. So if you had to be by an African American, you would be there. Or if you had to be by a white, you have to be there. Uh, and so I had some parents with that. They wanted me to put them in different places, but I couldn't. And I told the principal that they needed to let the parents know that if they could not work with us coming together in the school, personally on my behalf, and probably I would have lost my job. But this principal, I think, understood me. Yeah, they had to pull them out of my class and put them somewhere else, because I want people to get along and learn how to deal. Right now, that's one of the biggest problems we're having in the United States now, not being able to deal with each other. But what happened with the program, what I did was I ran for city council, and I said that I'm going to get me a program of all schools, high schools, private, county, and Selma City. And so they were, someone before me, the school had a program that they had brought people together. What the difference in my program was going to be, where parents trusted the program enough to let their children go off together to leadership council, inaugurations, just to view culture and history. And so I wanted it to be a little bit different. So when I went to Washington, I met with the man that was over the NLC, the National League of Cities. He had the same problem because all of his schools were white and my high school was black. So what we did, we brought we met in Washington, and we brought both groups together, those two groups in Virginia, West Virginia, and they met and they talked about things that meant a lot to them. So we came back in with a program of building neighborhoods. And so when we got back from Washington, I put that program together with bringing in every student who wanted to get involved. And what we did was, they did things in the community. They had taught us the tots. They fed, these were black and white children together, standing at grocery stores, taking up money to buy toys for children. You know a lot about it. You were instrumental in a lot of that. So what I did, the one major thing the reason why I brought this program was together was to let them know that they weren't any different from each other than they were thinking they were. I had the high schools that were black to visit the private schools. I had some connection into the private schools because I had talked to some of the teachers who were once in public, but they went to private. So they kind of knew me. So therefore they didn't mind that. So I would take the black students that I had in the ambassadors over to the private school. They communicated together, they talked to each other. And the private school, one that we went to, had a program in the mornings where they would have cupcakes and cookies, but they had a spiritual leader to talk to them that morning. So my kids at that time entered in, and they had a chance to talk and communicate with each other, which was good. Then I carried the whites that wanted to be entertained and go to the black schools. I carried them to Selma High and Q as a county school. And you know what? It was the most remarkable thing that happened. And I went to Morgan, Meadowview, those were the two private. They entered in with us, very great hospitality. And we did the same thing for the ones who chose to go to Selma High and keep with us, which were the black schools. So that was a connection right there. And so I had them to do traveling, which we went to inaugurations, cultural leadership programs, just to tour culture places that they'd never been together with each other. It was just, I think the program itself, it was remarkable while I was there, because some of these friendships are lingering right now. You got to know some of the whites, and they got to know you. They always saw you as being smart. And they got to know you. So the whole program started that way. I knew I needed a connection in the community that could say to this community, hey, we are not as different as you think we are. We need to come together. And the way you're going to do it is through the children. So that was my main focus. I felt very proud that program did make a difference. And when I left, basically no one else picked it up. But I said that what I would do, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to pick me someone from Women for Change to now, because of the way things are going in this country, to see if we can now pull some more kids in from all these schools, institutions, colleges, and in Selma to make that program come to fruition again. So yeah, that's how it all got started, with a purpose for me to bring a togetherness. And I'm proud to say that I have felt good about that, to the point that one of my youth and that ambassadors, Mr. Nichols, that's what I call him. But anyway, he's running for city council. He's a white young man. And he was one of the ones I took to on one of my trips to Washington, Maryland. And this parent said, "Oh, I'll let him go home with you." I said, "Yeah, I'll take good care of him." And I had a great time with him and two others. But he did go on the trip with us, and he's running for city council. I got to try to locate him, because I'm going to push for him to win, because he was a great communicator with the children. He had no problems with race. He brought some new things to a lot of the young men, and the young men brought a lot of new things to him. So Joy, that's how it got started. That's how it was implemented. And that's how you got to be a part of it, and others that I talk with every day.
Well, I'm definitely blessed to have been a part of it. I still go back to those youth ambassador memories, because it was an experience like no other that I've had in other programs. And
yeah.
I love your thinking with that, because it wasn't just sending out a newsletter to the schools, or it wasn't just having us sit there and listen to lectures. It was experiences with each other. And I think that's how you learn, get to know each other, and like you said, see that we're not that different. So,
yeah, and what the thing was, the giving part. You always stack toys. I have pictures of you now where you used to stack toys up. Turkeys, passing out dinners for people, making bags, giving on Christmas and Thanksgiving. You always do turkeys. You always tutor children. I have a segment that would tutor. I didn't worry about your seniors that much. I had that lower grade 9th to come in 9th and 10th, because that's where I started. They did the elementary tutoring. There were phases where I had to call on some of you who were not so active to come in and help students pass the exit exam. I call it the emergency exit program. There were kids who were not graduating because they couldn't pass the test. So I pulled some of my students out to help in that area. But you all did wonderful things to let people know that be a fan of the Elderly Project, where you all gathered hundreds of fans and passed them out in the summer, where elderly people were afraid to turn on their air conditioning because of a high bill. We gathered fans and we took them door to door. So, it's just all the good things. And I think now we're going to have to get back to a program that implements all of it. Mm-hmm.
This was a group with a purpose. And I love
with a purpose.
Yes.
And you all were that.
Yes, absolutely. Do you have a specific message for young people as of now? Do you have any solution for kind of what we see as a result of a lack of confidence, or a lack of them knowing who they are? Do you have a message for that, or a solution for that?
Well, look, I'm finding, Joy, that the biggest problem I'm getting is with young women. They seem to lack the confidence and self-esteem that they really need. You all didn't have that. I told you were somebody. It didn't matter about that. It didn't matter if you were white, blue, or green. You are somebody. I had white kids who had issues about who they were. Some of them didn't like themselves. And I had black girls who were concerned and had feelings about whether they were too black or too this or too that. Girls who were fat, they need to be skinny. Well, of course, I said, baby, look at me and I'm good. My daughter said, fat is fine. And so, you have to have those things for these girls to let them know that don't get involved with how people see you. You have to know yourself, know who you are, study your roots, know that beauty is beauty. And I'm having this talk mostly with now Black young women. You have to tell them that beauty comes from within. Beauty can mean that you have a beautiful smile. People can see kindness in you. Don't always associate beauty with how you look. your skin color, your eyes, your nose. My nose is too big. Of course, that's your nose. You know, take pride in it. So yeah, there are a lot of things I can say to them to say that, hey, you know, love yourself. Understand that beauty is something different now. It used to be a straight line of how you're supposed to look, but that's not anymore. So I say to young Black women especially, Black is beautiful and Blackness does matter. And also, like Michelle Obama said, Black girls rock. And so
Yes, absolutely.
they rock.
Yes.
That's right, baby. Yeah, you have to know that in yourself. And then carry your head up high
Yes.
because I am somebody. And
Yes.
prepare yourself. That's right. And prepare yourself because I'll tell you, that Blackness is something that you can enjoy and love if you take a real good look at it. But you got to know your history. Once you get that history, you'll know, say, hey, you can't tell me nothing. I'm good. So yeah, the whole purpose is to tell them, first of all, uh, put prayer as a guidance for you. If you get to the point, a lot of teenagers now are committing suicide. And because of real small things that shouldn't matter. But talk to someone all the time. Let someone hear your story. Pray for guidance because he'll give it to you. You know, you don't hear it every day. You're not going to be perfect. He just wants you to recognize him. You don't have to walk around Holy Ghost. You can just be with him. So you can call on him and talk. That's what that's all about. But it takes that in order to get on the inside of you to tell you that you are important. And you are important to someone that loves you. So yeah, have that confidence and that esteem because they both count.
I love that. Thank you for that. So I wanted to ask you what keeps you going? What motivates you to keep working? I know you said you want to like revive the Youth Ambassador program and you have like multiple organizations that you're still actively leading in. So what makes you keep going daily?
Well, I look at a lot of things for me. I talk about the will every day to keep going, you know, the will to have a purpose, perseverance, things that really matter within yourself. But now you got to know this. In order to really keep going, you truly would have had to make a difference in someone's life other than yours. You cannot gather all things within you and say you are surviving because you just doing just that. You're surviving. I think about missions and goals that I set for myself and others. I'm always thinking about something else that can make someone achieve what they want to achieve. So what keeps me going is when I know that someone will call me and say, I'm trying to make this happen for me. I don't really know what direction I'm going in. Excuse me. I said, look, I'm here for you. So things like that. My grandson, who is a big package, he is, I think about his future quite a bit. I'm thinking about children going back to school right now. I told my daughter, I said, you know, I'm up here with my son, but you know what? I'm going home and starting a school right in the front yard. You take so many a day, so many hours, and you go in the other backyard and you go and take so many. We just going to teach children something. Teach them to read and write. Yeah. She said, Mama, you have done this for 50 years. You cannot come home and start some stuff. That's why we gave you to my brother, because I know what you're going to do. You're going to have it in the back of a truck. You know, I called down to Selma and told them to get on the back of a truck with a bullhorn, tell everybody to wear a mask, and go get tested. And you know what they said? Don't let her come home. She would be on the back of the truck, and she would have people following you. You know some of these people who would probably be out there with me to get on the back of that truck. So my daughter said, don't let her come. Because I know what she would do. I could not stand by and watch that. I told her that I need to get with some organizations and buy some masks and just go around and pass them out. Say, hey, just take it. So yeah, you have to know that if you have done things and willing to do things, then you keep going, and you also know that you can be productive. And the biggest thing for me is the love for my family, because they are my rock in terms of letting me do some of the things that I've done in the past. I appreciate my husband for just standing by me, which is something that keeps me going because he has a heavy load in his work. And I have some dear friends. Last but not least, I have some friends that I love. Some of you really know. Love is a hard thing to find within a friendship. I don't pass a lot of it out. I pass probably more things out that mean a lot to people I don't know. I don't know whether they would love me or not. It wouldn't matter because they need me at that time. Right. But there are some people that I do really love that I'm gonna be there for all of the time. So yeah, my whole message about keeping me going, I have a good one, and I feel good about keeping on. His grace and mercy. That's my.
That is, I mean, I just noticed that it always goes back to people with you, and that to me is uplifting. That you care about people, and that's what fuels you. I love it, and like you said, you don't see that all the time. A lot of people.
It's hard to find.
Yes, it is.
It really is.
So if you could share one quote for the viewers, like something that they could take with them, live by, is there just one that
I tell you about quotes. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of them. Oh, my favorite one with Michelle Obama, and I always talk about her because she's the epitome of what we need to listen to sometimes because she is in the limelight. See, what Michelle Obama is equating to us is that you look at me, but you can be me. It's not look at me because I'm somebody. That's not the persona that she presents. I love that. That's the way I want to be with you all. You don't look at me because I'm teaching you. You can just look at me for what I tell you. I want you to believe in me. So a lot of the information that a person is giving you, take it in. Because what they're trying to do is give you some guideline by which to take your life and make it work. And that's what she's about. And when she said, when they go low, we go high. I said, baby, you on the right track now. And if we all decide that we go, now they want to pull us down into that low bar, but I ain't jumping it. I'm gonna go. And sometimes I feel like getting so low. I said, I'm human. But I tell myself, the best position that I've always been in my life was high. But now we'll get low now when it comes to maturity sometimes. And when low means it's a mile low. They ain't one of them low lows. I can't get down there where they are right now in America. Because they're low down here. So yeah, that's one of them. And then this thing about hope, hold on to hope. Because things are going to get better as we go. Hold on to hope, but things will get better as we move along. That's truly what I feel, because we're going to have better days ahead of us.
Absolutely.
Now, my major thing my major writings and quotes and the things that mean a lot to me are biblical. And the thing that my daughter always remind me of, that I always tell her every night, say the 23rd Psalm, the Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want. That says a lot within that whole thing. He does a lot of things for us. And so when it comes to a quote or something that I'm often saying at night before I go to sleep would be the 23rd Psalm. It is inclusive. It is everything you need to live by. I want you to remember that. It takes you far away from everything and puts you in a place where you can say that it's just something so much greater than you. I lean not to my own understanding because I can't solve problems. They're too big. And they're big right now. So I think the thing we need to do is just be prayerful about these things and look to Him. I really feel that because we're walking around now with something we can't even see. How powerless are we? Who we think we are? And when I used to say to my children, I'm nothing. Mama, you something? No, I'm nothing in the sight of God. Because what happens with that, when I become greater than that, then I know everything. I'm a healer. I can do all these things that he wants done. I could cure this virus right now. We deal with something that we don't even see. And if you don't get spiritual with that, then you're really not within this whole realm of thinking about who is supreme. So yeah, baby, I have quotes. I go with them often. I live by them. I'm not a real fake. I'm not fake news. I'm just I'm just a real person.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
And
I appreciate
I hope I create a difference in your life and anything that you need from me and whenever. I just hope that I've been able to give you something to live by.
Yes, yes. I mean, I appreciate all of your wisdom and just ending it on a spiritual note, because I know that drives you and I know you're a woman of God and we all see that in your work. So I just appreciate you, Miss Crenshaw, for all that you do. And like I said, I literally think about youth ambassadors. Like even now I think about those things that you would say, like I am somebody, and the things you would have us do. And it was clear that it was in your purpose, because I never saw you have a bad day. I never saw you lose your temper. Like you were experiencing joy, what you were doing. And that is infectious, and that's just something that I aspire to. So I appreciate you for doing this interview. I really got a lot out of it, and I hope that others do as well. So I want to thank you. And we're going to go ahead and close here.
Yes, ma'am.
UC&PTV viewers, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.
Okay, and God bless, okay? I love you.
Love you too.
Okay.